Hey, y'all. Okay, so I want to share another prophetic dream with you guys. And this dream, God was basically saying to be prayerful. Okay, He was just basically letting us know to be prayerful. I'm gonna get right into the dream. So, in a dream, I'm watching my little girl play with another little girl. Now, this little girl is not my actual little girl I have in a natural. This is a girl that God uses to refer to as a promise for me. It can be a promised child God has promised you. Um, I saw it at both. I saw it in both angles, right? And so I'm watching a little girl that God has promised to me, right? I'm watching her play with another little girl, and I always know our backstory. Our backstory is she doesn't really have a lot of friends. So I see she made a friend with this little girl, and she's so happy, and they're playing together. And I'm happy seeing my little girl happy, making good friends or whatever. And so I'm kind of watching them play, and I'm smiling. And then all of a sudden, the other little girl, who was playing with my daughter, she tries to touch my daughter in a sexual way. And when I see her, I said, stop. I stop her. I say, don't do that. I said, don't do that. What are you doing? And she stops for a moment, but then she tries again to touch my daughter again in a sexual way. And then, y'all, this time I almost snatched the girl a little bit. Okay, I'm sorry, but I said stop. I said, don't do that. What are you doing? And this was the thing. I can feel people's feelings in my dreams a lot, and it was like she couldn't help herself from this little girl, and it wasn't her fault. God help me explain this dream. So for this little girl, what I felt from her was nothing. It was emptiness. It was like she was hollow. And I had a knowing like she was going to keep trying to touch my daughter. And even though I was standing right there, even though I was telling her to stop, and it was like she couldn't. And on the inside, it was hollow. It was nothing there. And then I had a sense to look up, and at the doorway, it was her mother. And her mother had put her up to it. Her mother had did something to her that left her hollow and empty on the inside. Her mother had sent her to become friends with my daughter, and she had directions from her mother to try to touch my daughter sexually. Her mother was trying to put a spirit on my daughter through her daughter, right? And so after, I grabbed the little girl because she wasn't going to stop touching mine. She wasn't going to stop trying to touch my daughter, because that's what she was trained to do. She was taught to do that. Oh God. And so I see it's her mother standing at the doorway. And so I let her go, and I'm just kind of looking at them both. And my little girl's upset because she feels like I am taking her away from one of the, only little friends she's had, because she had a hard time making friends. And so I'm trying to calm my little girl down and let her know, that no, she doesn't understand what's going on. And so while I'm trying to talk to my daughter, the woman at the doorway, right? She is saying things to my daughter that's not true. She's trying to teach my daughter things that aren't right. And while I'm trying to, I'm trying to talk basically over her. And then when I look at the woman and I look back at my daughter is no longer there. It's just her clothing, right? It's just my daughter's clothes. And the woman is reaching towards my daughter's clothes, and she is chanting over them. She's chanting over the clothes. And I have a knowing that I have to pray. I have to pray. So then I'm praying over my daughter's clothes. And I'm trying to pray louder than her, and she's trying to pray louder than me. And I'm covering my daughter's clothes in prayer. And I'm trying to, it's like we're trying to, I'm praying, she's chanting, and I'm trying to make sure that my prayers are more powerful than what she's chanting over my daughter's clothes, okay? And I hope y'all still with me on this. So what God was showing me from this dream, like I said, this little girl in this dream represents a promise for me. And for a lot of, like, it can be a promised child for a lot of y'all, things God has promised y'all. But it represents a promise for me and a promised child as well, okay? God wants you to know that you need to be prayerful, okay? The enemy is not happy about what you're about to get. The people who have made the enemy their choice over God, they have been like relentless. They have been chanting. He even showed it to me like this. If you grew up in the church, you ever, heard of all night prayer, right? Y'all, I did not like when my mama stayed up there like that. But y'all remember all night prayer. And how you be praying at our church, we would pray over the north, the south, the east, the west, and we'd be praying all over. God showed me that the enemy got people that do that because the enemy copies everything that God does. They mimic it. So at night, sometimes, often, they be around chanting, right? Trying to do spell work on people, right? The enemy has already been using people to speak against the promises that God has for us, right? A lot of y'all have shut him out of your lives. Y'all have closed doors. He is desperately looking for a way back in. They cannot be praying over your family and your children and your promises more than you are, okay? They are already trying to, they're looking for a way in, and they are already trying to pray things over the promises God has for your life. They're already trying to pray things over your marriage. They're already trying to pray things over children you haven't even had yet. We were like, I was trying to pray louder than them over her clothes because she wasn't here yet. That's what God was showing me. This little girl's not here yet, and they're already speaking things on her life, and she's not even here yet. And they're already trying to speak things on her, and she's not even here yet. God, some of y'all haven't even gotten into your kingdom marriages yet, and they're already speaking things over it. So you can't allow them to be their chants, whatever you want to call it. You can't allow them to be louder, their prayers to be louder than yours. And it's not about being loud. You don't have to scream. God hears you, right? They shouldn't be speaking more on your future than you are. They shouldn't be talking more about your promises than you are. So I know a lot of people have gotten tired, but this is where you got to have your faith got to be big right here. God said you need to be prayerful. You need to be prayerful. Not afraid, because you have nothing to fear. You're a child of God. You have nothing to fear, but you need to be prayerful, and you need to know what's going on. The enemy is looking for a way back in. He is desperately looking for a way back in. People are out there doing spell work constantly. They have limitations for sure. They have limitations. But don't allow the enemy to be speaking on your future, on your family, on your promises more than you are, okay? So I just want to share that with you guys. God said to be prayerful. You're going to need to use wisdom. Like I said, a lot of y'all have closed a lot of doors to the enemy, and he's going to be desperately looking for a way back in. That little girl was innocent, but she was hollow on the inside because of what her mother did to her and what her mother put in her intentionally. She set that up. She sent that little girl to my house. That was the enemy's way in. And this little girl was so beautiful. Oh, she had long, beautiful hair, so sweet, remind me of like a little perfect little girl you would see on TV or something. He's going to try to use innocent ways to get into your houses, to get into your homes. So just use wisdom. Pray over your children's friends. You're going to have to use wisdom, you guys. Not trying to scare nobody, but God just said be prayerful and use wisdom and cover your families in prayer now. The children you have now, be covering them in prayer, because he is looking for a way in. He wants a way in, okay? All right, y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. Continue to be prayerful. I love y'all. Y'all be blessed.